Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. And we begin with the news of the weather. The Met Office issued a severe weather information statement earlier. Well, David Best joins us now live to give us the latest developments. David, I understand that we can expect some rain.
Yes, good evening to you, Lisa. Well, this is pertaining to a system which is approaching Barbados. We have already had some pretty sharp off and on showers out of a tropical wave which has moved out of the area. But this evening, at 4, we issued a severe weather statement, information statement pertaining to a series of low pressure systems that we have observed in the Eastern Atlantic. Now, of immediate interest is a system which is some under 700 miles to the east of the Lesser Antilles as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. Now, at present, model guidance is suggesting some slow possible development of this system over the next couple of days, and it is tracking westward at 17 to 23 miles per hour. Now, regardless of development, some moderate to heavy showers, periods of rain, scattered thunderstorms, and occasional gusty winds are likely to spread across Barbados by tomorrow afternoon into early Friday. Now, rainfall accumulations of 1 to 2 inches or 25 to 50 millimeters are possible with the passage of this system. Now, due to the already saturated nature of the soil, it may become necessary to issue a flood watch or a flood warning at pretty short notice. Marine conditions are also expected to deteriorate, so we could see swells in the vicinity of 2 to 2.5 meters. Now, with respect to the other 2 systems in the Eastern Atlantic, they are expected to take a more northerly track according to the model data, but of course we're going to be keeping you fully informed. But at this time, there's an area of low pressure about under 700 miles to the east of us, and we're monitoring it very closely with potential to affect us sometime tomorrow, but I'll give you all the details later. Lisa?
Thanks very much, David. Well, for a long time, Barbadians, especially those living in the north, have been concerned about the island's bus services. But if the international ride-sharing system Uber comes to Barbados, the long waits and struggle for adequate transportation could be over. However, local taxi operators are not too keen on having the Uber service. They say it could have a significant effect on that sector.
Uber is a North American-based travel app that's currently being used in 633 cities around the world, and there's a possibility it could come to Barbados. The app uses a ride-sharing concept, and it's fast and uses your location so your driver knows where to pick you up. With it, you just tap to request a ride, and it's easy to pay with a credit card or with cash in selected areas. However, some local taxi operators say if it comes to the island, they must get a benefit.
Barbados is 166 square miles, right? There's so much cars on the road in Barbados. If you bring Uber to Barbados, you should involve the taxi drivers more so that the taxi and the economy in Barbados and the taxi people will get employment, because right now it's kind of hard. We here on the corner working taxis on the corner and we're not getting any work already. So like when you come and you bring Uber here and then private cars getting money, well, that kill the taxi industry in one. So basically all you need to do is like they will have to have a system in place for taxi drivers first.
However, others say they will not let the app affect them.
As I said, it is a new thing, so try new things. We need new things.
You said it's not going to affect you?
It shouldn't affect me, no, because at the end of the day, once you do good business, they think it should affect you, right? Exactly, so I don't see nothing wrong with it.
So Uber cannot affect us because we have clientele that have been serving with us for over 10, 20 years. So Uber is just a chance for people then probably to make an honest dollar. We have no problem with that on my side because I know what I bring to the table, so that cannot affect me.
However, the taxi operators argue that there is already an app similar to Uber in Barbados called Beep Cab, which they believe the people should utilize more. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
With over half of the Barbadian population using social media, civil society organizations are being encouraged to use those platforms to spread their messages. That advice has come from IDB's country representative to Barbados, Juan Carlos de la Hoz Venas. His comments came this morning during an ICT and social media awareness workshop for over 30 civil society organizations.
hopefully you will remain one of these 180,000 people using social media, but maybe you will look at it in a different way as a channel to advance your agendas and as a way to improve the work you do in the country, to improve the lives of the population, to probably make a better advocacy in terms of your ideas or your objectives.
Meanwhile, information specialist Brian Linton is reminding the representatives to always post relevant content to attract their target audiences.
People will start coming to your properties if you post nonsense. Yeah, things that they can't relate to. Yeah, sorry to be so strong, but it's something that I constantly have to tell both private sector clients as well as public, right? Yeah, yes, you need a popular blog, but popularity means you have to put in the work. It's not going to be easy. You actually have to go there and craft quality content that they want to see, yeah? They want to recognize.
Regional cooperation is critical to addressing issues of crime and violence. This view from Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite. He was at the opening of a regional workshop on the strengthening of evidence-based decision-making for citizenship in the Caribbean, or Carry Secure project. Mr. Brathwaite says Barbados recognizes the importance of law enforcement and communities working together on solutions to crime and violence, especially among young people.
Strategies should include self-development programs and vocational training, which can offer alternatives to involvement in unwholesome activities detrimental to the entire community. Data emergent from a recent gang study by the RSS, which also suggested that, in fact, almost all of the countries, if memory serves me correctly, that were shown earlier, that we all have somewhat of a gang problem. And the data that I saw from this study suggested it's all linked to family issues, illiteracy among many of our youth, basic issues that are prevalent across the region. But what you're doing over the next couple of days is, of course, setting a framework so that we can have evidence-based interventions going forward.
The Attorney General says members of the public should not view efforts to provide second chances to some offenders as being soft on crime.
But there are also times when intervention, in particular where our youth are involved, where the softer skills are required. Because to me, and I'm sure to many of you, it makes no sense, or it makes little sense, incarcerating a 19-year-old, for example, for 5 years. He goes into the prison system. He goes into the prison system with challenges, either low morale, poor education, family difficulties, you know, the usual gamut of challenges. And he comes back up from prison with the same challenges and goes back into his community with the same challenges. And then we question why he ends back up in the prison system.
Meanwhile, U.S. Ambassador to Barbados, Linda Tagliatella, says the U.S. is helping to strengthen the quality of data available. It's doing so through the promotion of tools like geomapping. The U.S. Ambassador says it's also vital victimization data matches that of police statistics.
A recent study by the Inter-American Development Bank cited significant difference between police statistics and information from victims. The study revealed that almost half of all crimes are unreported to the police. Violence tends to be concentrated in specific neighborhoods, and some groups, like youth in poor areas, are victimized repeatedly. Victimization surveys provide a fuller picture of the prevalence of crime and violence.
The wait will be over on Friday for the thousands of students in Barbados and across the Caribbean who wrote CXC examinations in May and June. That's when the results will be back, and the Barbados-based Caribbean Examinations Council on Monday released results to the Ministries of Education across the region. Those results will be available on CXC's website and on the CXC Connect mobile app. Police are looking into another shooting incident that left 2 people injured, this time in Bottom Close, Wildy St. Michael, just after 9 last night. The wounded men have been identified as a 40-year-old Kerwin Delpiche of Wildy and Ryan Quimby, 35 years, of Bush Hall St. Michael. Police say the two were liming by a shop in the area with other men when a motor van pulled up. A man exited and opened fire on the group. Dalpiche received a gunshot injury to his left foot, while Quimby received 2 gunshot injuries to his left thigh. The injured men were both transported to hospital by private vehicle for medical attention. Now, anyone who can provide information to assist police in their investigation is asked to contact the nearest police station or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477. A dispute between the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation and Sportsmax parent company, International Media Content, has resulted in the television station pulling the channels from its multi-choice TV cable service. CBC's General Manager Doug Hoyt says the decision was taken because of the highly unusual and unacceptable step by IMC to put in the public domain the private business arrangements of the two companies.
We are suspending the Sportsmax service indefinitely. We find it highly irregular, if not unprofessional, for a business partner to want to put the private business discussions in the public domain. It is totally unacceptable to the CBC. We wouldn't do it to them, and we wouldn't expect that they would have done this to us.
Mr. Hoyt's comments are in response to a media statement from IMC suggesting it is owed significant sums by MCTV for Sportsmax and Sportsmax 2. Both Sportsmax and IMC are owned by Digicel. IMC also threatened to discontinue its arrangement with the CBC if the two parties failed to reach an agreement on how to settle the matter. Well, Mr. Hoyt says the corporation's efforts to resolve the issue with IMC have so far not been successful. He adds, however, the CBC is working on putting an alternative in place.
We recognize there will be a temporary inconvenience to some of our subscribers, but we're working assiduously to try and find replacement sports programming for those two channels on MCTV.
We'll have more news in just a moment, so stay tuned.
We listened to what you had to say and tore up the old rules because losing what you paid for is just wrong. Now lost data and talk are a thing of the past. Only Digicel gives you unlimited rollover data and talk. Just buy and renew your Quick Pick bundle before it expires and keep what's rightfully yours. Never lose what you don't use. Go to My Digicel app to bundle up and roll over today. Digicel.
The globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals. GHS. Be careful. Read the label. Is it the awareness for all people? Be careful and read the label. Safety while using chemicals is our goal. Global labeling, communicating safety information to you. So read your label and please be sure before you pour. The globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals. GHS.
When the curtain is raised for Carifesta 13 in Barbados this Friday, all eyes will be on the island. So the many venues involved have been busy setting the stage, including the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre, where dozens of countries will be represented at the Carifesta Grand Market and Buyers Shopping Mall. Denise Blackman was there and she filed this report.
As you can see, preparations are well underway here at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre for the big day, that is the Carifesta Grand Market, running from the 19th to the 26th. That is the second day of the festival all the way until the second last day of the festival. Also on the ground here is Andre Hoyt, who's the producer of the event. So he told us a bit about what we can expect from the market.
We have a fashion hall, we have a home and decor center, we have the national booths upstairs, as well as a gourmet hall. We have the music showcases occurring. Music showcases run from 1 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. We also have the Caribbean food court. We have people from Guyana, Haiti, Martinique, Guadeloupe, all of them there, Trinidad. And then we also have the country night stages. They run from 7 p.m. until 12 midnight.
And some exhibitors have already arrived to prepare. I caught up with some craftsmen from Jamaica, many of whom will showcase leather products. They say Carafesta excitement is big in Jamaica. In fact, they have an old song that mentions the festival.
It goes like this: Janie and his sister went to Carafesta and he found a guy. Guy was a Rasta guy, so he said she loved up the ayah. So it could have been that the ayah that she met was a Rastafarian.
The group was getting accustomed to their setup for the market. There are mini shops outside as well as the indoor facilities. What are you looking forward to most about the festival?
Well, it's my first time in Barbados, so I'm looking for the whole experience, you know, the mystique of Barbados, and meet some new friends and things like that, and even get some business on the island that I can export my things here.
The Jamaicans and other designers will actually have the audience of special international guests.
We have a very important guest from Savile Row in the UK, Mr. Andrew Van Roop, of Caribbean roots. He is one of the top designers in Europe, and he'll be here to make a presentation on Sunday as well. We're bringing buyers from Italy. We have 3 buyers coming from Italy. We have buyers coming from Germany. We have buyers coming from UK, Canada, the USA. They're all coming to see the products. They have meetings scheduled with some of the exhibitors as well.
More info on what you can expect is on the official website carafesta.net. But between the many activities, the visiting artists will also be doing their own exploring.
I'm going to St. Philip's, and from St. Philip's then I go to Arts and Cave. You got to go to that big park there. They have Forry Hill. Yeah. So I plan to take some of them who would never been here before, take them around and show them the beauty of Barbados. For me, I come 54 times in 4 years. So I said it's my home away from home.
But throughout their stay, they will be promoting the values of the Carafesta Festival.
We would love to see a serious camaraderie where arts and craft is concerned, and to build the unity through arts and craft. You know what Bolt has done for the region already. So we want to be the next Bolt as it relates to promoting arts and craft, and to create what is called a solid unity among ourselves as a region.
So starting this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m, by all accounts, the exhibitors will be ready, and so will the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center be ready for the Carafesta Grand Market. Denise Blackman, CBC News.
And a number of Barbadian filmmakers will be under the spotlight during the festival, as international buyers are set to attend the event. Several full-length local films to be screened around the island include the work of Step by Step Productions, Hollywood Productions, Selwyn Brown, Shakira Bourne and Ricky Redmond. A recent film, After the Loss, starring students of the St. Leonard's School, will also be screened, and filmmakers will be given the chance to network with potential investors. 10 other countries across the region will also showcase films, including Bermuda, Guadeloupe, Haiti, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago. Now, most screenings will take place at the Olympus Theatres for a nominal fee, but others will be free to the public at the Checker Hall Playing Field in St. Lucie, the Glebe Playing Field in St. George, and the Dover Playing Field in Christchurch. Season passes are also available, and the schedule for the films as well as the other events can be found at carifesta.net. In other news now, with a number of major waterworks projects slated in the coming months, there's yet another appeal for homeowners to invest in a personal tank. While not going into detail about the projects, Manager of Communications and the Rapid Response Unit, Joyanne Haig, says more pumping station upgrades and mains replacement are in the pipeline, and that translates into scheduled shutdowns and possible outages. And that's why she's urging householders to come to the Barbados Water Authority's headquarters in the Pine to apply for a tank under the Personal Tank Program. Now, initially, the PTP was for residents in areas hardest hit by outages due to drought conditions over the past 2 years. But Ms. Haig says the program has been expanded, that is, to include homeowners across the country.
It's a win-win situation for everybody. The Barbados Water Authority then will be able to do their work without impacting the customers. And the customers then will be able to live their lives without having to feel as if, you know, somebody's not listening, somebody turned off the water, which is not the case. We do have to shut down in emergencies, and we have to shut down during scheduled work.
Ms. Haig says 400 tanks are available in this phase of the program on a first-come, first-served basis. And you can tune in to Water Wednesdays later on in the evening news for more details about the expanded PTP and what you need to do to get your personal tank. Government is considering installing solar panels on the roofs of public secondary schools across the island. That's according to Minister in the Prime Minister's office, Senator Darcy Boyce. He made the announcement during the signing of an agreement to install photovoltaic panels on several government buildings.
The Barbados National Oil Company Limited, which as you know was formed to exploit the fossil fuel resources, is having discussions with the Ministry of Education about using the roofs of the schools, secondary schools, I think it is, so that they can have, instead of having to go and take up land, they can use those roofs to be able to generate electricity. So the schools not only save money in terms of the electricity costs, but they will now be generators of revenue for the government.
And the contractor responsible for the installation says his company will have as little an impact as possible on the operations of the departments housed in those buildings. Managing Director of Solar Watt, Joshua Hunt, says lots of consideration has been given to this concern.
Some of the projects are actually schools, so we have schools are out. There's some schools that we won't be able to work during normal hours. There's going to be some that are going to be work on weekends. There's some government buildings that are very sensitive in nature, what actually they do, which require additional security clearances. So all of that we're in discussion with, and we're working quite closely with the Division of Energy to try to facilitate that process. It's not a simple 8 to 4. There's some evenings that we're going to have to be working weekends all through the night, but we're working on that quite closely with them.
Well, several people turned out in front of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for a vigil to show support for 2-year-old Takila Lynch. A patient at the hospital for the last 9 months, Takila suffers with spinal muscular atrophy type 2 or SMA, and that's a genetic disease that causes muscle weakness and wasting. Her parents, Patricia Hunt and Anthony Lynch, say they have one dream for their child, and that's to get her home until they've raised enough money to send her overseas for treatment. Takila's father, Anthony, says the bubbly 2-year-old is well for the most part, but can't go home because she's on a ventilator and certain conditions have to be satisfied before she can be released.
So you're trying to raise funds to get a ventilator because we got to get home oxygen, right? You have to get your host insured, everything we have to do to get her home. But unfortunately, the proper ventilator costs $5,000 US plus, so that's one hold up. And otherwise than that, she can't get a treatment here in Barbados, and we got to find a way to get her some sort of treatment overseas at the present moment.
And Patricia says she's pleasantly surprised with the response from Barbadians to the family's appeals for help.
I am really hoping to get treatment for Takila, but because it is so costly, I don't know where to start to get all of that money from. So I know getting her home should be comfortable. She adores when her brothers come and look for her, but being school, they can't come every day. But yes, her face always lights up, but when she see her brothers, she face lights up even more. So I know having her home, it will not only be comfortable for Takila, but I know her brothers will enjoy that, to have this only sister at home with them.
It's here and we're ready. We're talking about CariFesta 13. Lisa Lord takes a look at what we can expect.
Barbados last hosted CariFesta back in 1981. And now, 36 years later, the island has the honor of organizing the festival once again. About 4,000 artists, and artisans representing over 23 Caribbean and Latin American nations are expected to participate in CariFesta 13. This year's festival will be held under the theme, Asserting Our Culture, Celebrating Ourselves. But what is CariFesta? Well, for starters, it stands for the Caribbean Festival of Arts. Every 2 years, CARICOM and CARIFORM countries gather to celebrate the spirit of their people through the expressions of art, music, food, folklore, theatre and dance. CARIFESTA gets started with an opening ceremony on Friday afternoon. There will be an opening parade from Queen's Park to Kensington Oval from 3:30. Then a pre-show at the Oval at 4:30 before the official opening scheduled for 6. And then the heat really gets turned up from Saturday until the following Sunday, with the best Barbados and the region has to offer in music, literary arts, visual arts, theatre, dance and film. Now, unique to this year's festival is the launch of the newly modelled marketplace for buyers, distributors and exhibitors at the Grand Market and Buyers Shopping Mall, being held at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre. Just this week, Culture Minister Stephen Lashley explained how artists stand to benefit from the many international buyers that will be on island.
In the area of fashion, 6 buyers from Germany, 1 from Portugal, 1 from the United Kingdom, 3 from Italy, Colombia. In the area of music, sync licensing, festivals and events, 3 UK and 1 from the United States. There will also be a focus on area home and decor, and in that area we have a number of buyers from Europe, United States. In the area of gourmet, 2 from the United Kingdom, film, 1 from Canada, 2 from the United States. In the area of literature, 1 from Canada and 1 from the Caribbean. There'll be a number of market influencers who will be visiting as well. We have 1 fashion specialist from Seville in the United Kingdom, 1 film specialist from the USA, and a visual arts critic from Canada, and 1 branding expert from the UK. So all in all, I believe we're going to be having quite a number of very influential buyers. You will recall that one of the main themes and focus of CARIFESTA is on the culture industries. And of course, we are matching our investment in CARIFESTA with the potential of the culture industries and the creative sector generally. And therefore, even as we go through the CARIFESTA experience, we are planning for what happens after CARIFESTA.
So clearly, lots of opportunities there. Now, as you would appreciate, quite a lot of preparation goes into planning something of this magnitude, and the venues are crucial. A number of buildings have been renovated to facilitate the many events, among them the Daphne Joseph Hackett Theatre. Work started there in November to ensure that there was enough time for the building to be ready. Interestingly enough, the last time work was done on that building back in 1981. The Queen's Park Steel Shed, Queen's Park Gallery, the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre, the University of the West Indies CAFL Campus, the Bridgetown Synagogue, Frank Collimer Hall, Bay Street Esplanade, the Olympus Theatre, and several schools will also be used. The Wilde Gymnasium will also host several major events, and that building has also seen extensive renovations. CARIFESTA is following closely behind the Sweetest Summer Festival, which ended mere days ago. And just like Cropover, the island will no doubt see an influx of tourists with the many delegations who will be on island. Lisa Lord, CBC News.
Thanks, Lisa. We'll take a break here, but when we come back, stories making headlines across the region.
Excuse me, I said I hear something about that comedy show. What really is? What is?
It's all about CARIFESTA 2017!
Peoples, it's the Caribbean Comedy Explosion, Saturday, August 26th at the Sir Garfield Sober Gymnasium. ITM Fancy Cat from Jamaica, the legendary Larry Joseph from Trinidad and Tobago, and he's bringing along the new funny man, Ken M. Chinese Super Sad, with Dolores Alexander, the Drunken Saint, and Darren Mendoza, and the daddy of all comedy daddies, Errol Fabian. And Guyana got to be there, people. They're bringing Jumbi and Odessa Primus. That's right. And bringing it home is Trevor Dynamite, Ismail Lafitar, Romanco, Queen Archibald Cox, and special guest Stiffy. Early bird tickets are small, $50. General admission, $65. And the IMF will be there. IMF Fingal is your MC. MC is mad and crazy. The Caribbean Comedy Explosion, Saturday, August 26th, the Garfield Stolber's Gymnasium. People, get your tickets from official box offices only.
From June 6 to 12, Barbados hosted Phase 1 of Exercise Trade Winds 2017, and the Barbados Government Information Service was there to capture all the action. Watch Part 2 of this feature and see the troops as they were deployed to manage the ripple effects of aftershocks from a strong earthquake. Don't miss it, Monday, August 21st at 8:30 p.m. on this station.
Peoples, it's the Caribbean Comedy Explosion, Saturday, August 26th at the Cigar Feed Sober Gymnasium.
Right, so on the 26th of August.
26 August 2017.
The place to be is the Caribbean Comedy Explosion at the...
I gonna be there. Jimmy, the gymnasium. All right, done. And the tickets from
Ticket Link. Hold on. And a lot of people from the Caribbean gonna be there, from Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados.
I gonna be there. She coming, right? But I hope that when I coming too, this thing gonna be egg-run. All the comedians.
26th of August at the Ruby Gymnasium. What is it? Caribbean Comedy Explosion. Boom!
I gonna be there.
Saturday, August 26th, Cigar Feed Sober Gymnasium. Peoples, get your tickets from official box offices only.
The official start to the academic year for all public and public primary and secondary schools across the British Virgin Islands has been pushed back by 2 weeks. Students will not start classes until September 18th. Minister of Education Myron Walwyn says the delay is primarily due to the tropical wave that left the British Overseas Territory flooded last Monday. Although cleanup could be completed by September 4th, which is the original reopening date for schools, the minister noted there are a number of residual issues to deal with. Over in Guyana, there's a limited number of public servants, particularly in the health sector, working in interior locations. This has presented a challenge, which is currently being addressed by the government.
A special effort is being made to train more Indigenous folk to take up much-needed public posts in their villages, including posts as health workers, doctors, nurses and midwives, because a considerable amount of those who have already been trained have not returned to their communities. This is according to Junior Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe.
A nurse from Parmakadoy or perhaps from Babu Creek might be asked to serve at least a year or two in that hospital before she returns to her village. So we have different things happening that would prevent, but we're not giving up. We're training more, lots more, so that whatever happens, each village in the end, our government plans that each village will have a health worker.
Minister Garrido-Lowe explained that presently there is a shortage of nurses throughout Guyana, and district hospitals such as the one in Madia would have a demand for more nurses because of the population it serves. Hence, it is imperative that more medical workers be trained as soon as possible.
That's a mission of our government, and we plan to fulfill that mission. It will take a little time, but we're working on it.
She added that a recent success is the number of young Indigenous adults who have signed up with the Guyana Defence Force, and that it is expected in a short while more Indigenous people will venture off into the different sectors to serve their communities and the country at large.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has brought 5 disciplinary charges against the head of the Police Welfare Association, Sergeant Brenton Smith. Well, this following remarks he allegedly made on social media about plans to storm the office of the Prime Minister. The 5 charges stem from the July 13th WhatsApp conversation among PWA executive members, in which Smith reportedly said that the executive should storm the office of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves in an effort to have issues affecting police officers addressed. The SVG police force says it expects that charges would also be brought today against another PWA executive member who, like Smith and 2 others, were transferred after the development became public. A stowaway survived almost 2 hours in sub-zero conditions after clambering aboard the front landing gear of a passenger jet about to fly from the Dominican Republic to Miami. The Dominican national, who has not been named, was spotted climbing down the landing gear by police after the American Airways Airbus landed in Miami on Saturday. An investigation has been launched as to how the man was able to evade airport security at Las Americas International Airport and make his way airside to the parking stand. We'll give you a peek into the world of sports in just a moment, but before we get to that, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Be on the alert. Drive around the ATM machine and survey the area prior to approaching it. This ATM safety tip is brought to you in association with the Royal Barbados Police Force.